Begin with this breaking news, an update that impacts thousands of Richmond County families and students. The Richmond County School Board meeting is going on right now.
Superintendent Kenneth Bradshaw just released his recommendation. He recommends face-to-face learning for K through 8th and pre-K will start September 8th, the day after Labor Day.
In person for grades 6 through 12 and online starts Thursday the 10th. At the end of the month, the board will meet again to evaluate all this. Right now, the meeting is going on. This is not a final decision. There's not a vote. This is simply the superintendent's recommendation, but we're following it. We'll let you know as soon as we learn more.
More news ahead as we take a look over Wheeler Road. Riley, what do people need to know as they're heading home?
Looking pretty good out there, Zaina, for most of us. Not tracking too much in the way of showers or storms. It's really just very hot and humid again this afternoon. That's the big weather story. We are tracking some of these tiny little downpours that pop up and then they just kind of fizzle out. We've had some of these near the metro. Right there in downtown Aiken, you may see a quick little sprinkle, not expected to last all too long for you, though. Going into Barnwell County, you can see just north of Snelling, kind of near the northern parts of the Savannah River site, another little downpour forming. If you see rain today, you should be one of the lucky few that will help cool you off. Just take a look at what it feels like out there. 108 on the heat index in Evans, 105 here in Augusta. It is pretty brutal out there, and unfortunately expected to stay just as hot and humid the next 3 days. If you're firing up the grill for dinner, not expecting too much in the way of storms, just be prepared for the heat. Take a look at some better rain chances by this weekend coming up.
Riley, thanks very much. President Trump has been in Kenosha. Georgia's school superintendent is looking for high school students to serve on a new student advisory council. These students would meet with Superintendent Richard Woods to talk about the impact of state policies in the classroom. They would also serve as ambassadors from their respective schools. Applicants have to be enrolled in a Georgia public school, and that includes those virtual learners too. Applications need to be submitted by the 1st of October. Head to our website to find out more.
Zoom says that its revenue more than quadrupled in the second quarter. This comes as people around the world are using it to see and talk to each other online. The video conferencing company also says its profit was up more than 3,000% over the same quarter last year. Mail-in ballots for November's general election is being extended. A federal judge ordering that deadline until 7 p.m. on November 6th, 3 business days after the election. The order says ballots must be postmarked by Election Day. The Secretary of State's office says it plans to immediately appeal the ruling.
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg and his wife are donating $300 million to voting projects. The money is going to nonprofit groups working to support voters ahead of the November elections. One group, the Center for Tech and Civic Life, helps hire and train poll workers. Another provides voters with accurate information about registration, voting locations, and hours.
A slight uptick in daily COVID cases across Georgia. 2,200 new positives today with 105 more deaths. The positive test rate rising by a full percentage point to 10.5% after dropping 3% over the last month. In South Carolina, just under 800 new cases with 38 more deaths. Daily cases below 1,000 2 days in a row after Saturday and Sunday both saw more than 1,000 new cases.
Checking into our local hospitals, AU Health with 55 new cases today. That's fewer than we're used to seeing. 67 COVID patients are being treated there now. University Hospital with more than 1,300 cases and 45 people in the hospital there. Again, a low number. And just 4 new cases today between Doctors Hospital and the Charlie Norwood VA. 12 people now in the hospital at Doctors. Aiken Regional sitting at 633 total cases. Today, we're also learning DHEC is going to start giving reports twice a week on the number of COVID patients at public and private schools in South Carolina. The first reports begin on Friday. They'll be updated on DHEC's website every Tuesday and Friday. The reporting does not mean students and faculty contracted the virus at a school, and only those who physically attend school on a regular basis will be included in the count.
The number of COVID cases in children is still rising according to a new study. The American Academy of Pediatrics found more than 70,000 new pediatric COVID cases were reported. That's up 17% over 2 weeks. In late May, approximately 5% of all cases in the country were children. As of August 27th, that is almost doubled to 9.5%. Many of us use an emoji when sending a text message, but did you ever consider the multiple meanings they can convey? We'll take a look at the popular ones and some you may want to avoid next.
And most of us looking dry if you're stepping out this evening. It looks like we could actually enjoy a nice little dry stretch. Have a look at that full forecast coming up.
And I'm Arctic Spray pairing as a total win. The pick 2 for 3 deal, only at Checkers. Get Checkers delivered.
our breaking news. The Richmond County School Superintendent just releasing his recommendations for what the beginning of the school year might look like. That meeting's still going on as we speak. We just wanted to bring you an update on the air just as soon as we get them. Nick Proto's been paying attention to all this. He breaks down what we know so far. Nick.
Yeah, Richard, this just coming into our newsroom within the last 10, 15 days or so. Dr. Kenneth Bradshaw giving his recommendations to the board about what he'd like to see for this upcoming school year. Before he did that, he did release some statistics from a teacher survey that was sent out. Of the 1,872 teachers who are part of the Richmond County school system, about 1,148 took that survey, about 61% there. The results came back with about 48% of those teachers saying they were either comfortable or very comfortable with the assignment that they were given, whether that be face-to-face, virtual learning, some hybrid of the two. They were very comfortable with it. His recommendations are going to be starting on September 8th for those pre-K through 5th and K through 8 schools, and on September 10th for the K through 12, or excuse me, the 6th through 12 graders.
And again, that's a recommendation. No vote yet. We'll keep you posted. Nick, thanks for the update there. All right, let's have a live look at Aiken as we check in with Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale.
Another day, Richard, where it's not too bad for most of us. We are staying dry across most of the CSRA. You can see a pretty active pattern, though, off towards our west. Some severe thunderstorm warnings through central Arkansas, and even some flash flood warnings going on near the Dallas-Fort Worth area. For us, it's really been mostly just a dry day with a lot of heat and humidity. We're starting to see some downpours pop in Aiken and Barnwell County. You can see they're fairly small in size, and most of these aren't lasting all too long. So just on the east side of Aiken there, heading towards Wagner, that's where you're seeing some light to moderate rainfall. But these are showers. We're not seeing anything in the way of lightning with these, so these are not storms, just kind of some downpours forming. Northwest of Barnwell, just on the northern end of Savannah Riverside, tracking some more of just this isolated activity. If you have plans through this evening, for us here around the metro, not expecting much in the way of rainfall. A very calm day out there. Just look at the glass conditions over the Savannah River here, courtesy of EarthCam. We're currently at 94. That's been as high as we've been able to get so far today. We may have been able to hit 95 briefly, but the humidity is much worse than yesterday. Those dew points back in the mid-70s. So that also means we can't drop off our low temperatures all too much. Tonight we're expected to stay around 76 for a low out of Bushfield, and skies should be generally partly cloudy to mostly clear. For your Wednesday, unfortunately, just another very hot day for us, very humid as well, and not expecting too much in the way of storms, and those low storm chances expected at least through Friday. Take a look at the heat index. This is what's going to feel like next few afternoons for us. Wednesday could actually be one of the worst days of the week. With the combination of highs in the upper 90s, dew points mid-70s, we're taking a look at heat index values up to 109 in some spots tomorrow. So stay safe in the heat. Unfortunately, we're not really expecting much in the way of rain in the rain department to help cool us off until we get to the weekend. That's when our next front's going to arrive. It's going to up those rain chances, but also decrease our temperatures as well. We have the full corn moon going on for your Wednesday. The best time to view this is going to be right at moon set or right at moon rise. If you want to check out moon set tomorrow morning, it's going to be at 7:15 a.m. and then moon rise tomorrow is going to be just after 8:30. And we should have some generally clear skies out there to be able to see that. Remember, if you get low in the horizon, that's when you get that moon illusion and it just makes it look that much bigger. For us, 97, folks. Next 3 days, just a very hot and mostly dry stretch for us. Those storm chances are not zero. We're just not expecting widespread storms. It'll only be a few communities that see some rain the next few days.
Thanks, Riley. Do you use an emoji when sending a text or a message? Well, you may be using the wrong one for the wrong message.
Right, there are subtle differences that can make a big difference in what you're trying to say. Jamie Tucker takes a look at what some of the popular emoji mean.
When emoji are released, they come with a description, but then when people start using them, they can take on a whole new meaning. For instance, you know this means you find something funny. More tears means overwhelming joy, or could mean sad tears. And this clearly means you're rolling on the floor laughing. There are many, many others, and to help us understand, I've recruited my daughter, Delaney, who uses quite a few emoji in texting and so forth. You ready?
Yes.
All right. What does this one mean? A grinning face with smiling eyes.
General pleasure, I guess.
An upside-down face.
You're being sarcastic.
All right. This wink.
May mean a joke or flirting. Not to be confused with the smirking face may convey something sexual.
Oh, okay. Yeah. This smiling face with closed eyes and hearts.
Says you're in love. Smiling with hard eyes may mean infatuation.
All right, this kissing face means
Blowing a kiss, or maybe a kiss goodnight. But this one, kissing face with no hearts, means love and affection. The kissing face with eyes closed conveys romantic love. Face without a mouth means someone's speechless. This one may mean someone's emotional or drunk. But this slightly different dizzy face means you're shocked or surprised.
But emoji can be ambiguous, so it's important to pay attention to the context of the conversation.
And tomorrow we'll talk about some of the hidden meanings behind emojis that parents should know.
That's What the Tech. I'm Jamie Tucker.
And I'm Delaney Tucker.
And I'm definitely faced without a mouth right now, speechless on all this. I have to go back and take notes on all that.
I know. I think I'm still learning things to this day, but that's true. I like to use the shocked emoji, or I guess people might think it like you're worried, but I like to think it's excited, the one that's like...
Oh, I don't know what you mean. Yeah, kind of the shocked guy. How about all those kisses? Did you know that there were so many emoji kisses?
I know.
Eyes open, eyes closed, with hearts. Anyway, if you need a ride home, you might have to take a selfie first. We'll explain why when we come back.
My grandfather. 2-hour season finale. Wednesday, 9/8 Central on CBS.
The next time you call an Uber, you may have to take a selfie first to verify you have a mask on. Uber already requires deliveries to take mask selfies. Now, Uber says passengers who have previously been reported by a driver for not wearing a mask must take a selfie for mask verification when calling their next ride. Repeated violators could be deactivated from the app. The feature is set to roll out by the end of September.
This drone could actually save someone's life one day. A Japanese company testing them out right now. They act as a temporary station for cell phones when towers go down. So one day, they can actually help look for people buried in debris by tracking their phone. Most drones can only fly for about a half hour. This one can stay in the air for several days at a time. The company is also working on a drone that can boost cell phone signals and GPS.
Well, we have to wait an extra year for the Summer Olympics, which were supposed to be this past summer. We're learning more about the year they're coming back to the U.S. Today, officials released the emblem for the 2028 Olympics. That's when it will be in Los Angeles. The logo looks to capture the city's diversity and creativity. While the L and 28 are locked in, the A is animated and ever-changing, telling its own story of the city.
If you are taking the dogs out this afternoon, it's very hot, folks. Be sure to check the temperature of the concrete and asphalt you're going to be walking on. Take another look at that 7-day forecast coming up.
Watch 1226 on your side, wherever you go.
If you're scared of snakes, you may want to look away. These massive ones apparently fell right through the roof of a man's house in Australia. They're carpet pythons. One is just over 8 feet long and the other is 9.5 feet.
Good thing the homeowner wasn't there when it happened. The snake catcher says there were a couple of the fattest snakes he'd ever seen. But here's what's scary. The catcher says it's breeding season and it's likely the two males were fighting over a nearby female who could also still be in that roof or somewhere around the house. So watch your step over there.
Oof. Yeah, not something you want to encounter waking up to in the morning by any means. We are keeping an eye on Tropical Storm Nana. This is now the 14th named storm, and we just had Omar form just a few hours ago. This particular storm is just south of Cuba and is heading towards the west, towards Central America, and that's expected to be the places that are impacted by this storm. But Nana could actually strengthen into a Category 1 storm before landfall. Belize, Honduras, Guatemala, the main countries that are going to be affected by that system. And here's a look at Tropical Storm Omar. That was Tropical Depression 15 that we were talking about yesterday, but that storm is expected to stay over open water. For us around the CSRA, just looking very hot and mostly dry. I say mostly dry. They can't rule out just a few pop-up little downpours the next few afternoons, but most of us looking dry until we get to the weekend where our next front arrives. That's going to help cool us off and up those rain chances.
That's a hot start to a new month. Riley, thank you. That's going to wrap it up for News 12 first at 5. News 12 at 6 o'clock starts in 3 minutes.